Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be going over how to find the probability of the union, intersection, and complement of different events. So union, intersection, and complement are the three vocabulary words you'll hear me say a lot in this video, and we have different symbols and notations to represent them. I have the definitions written at the top of the screen, but I will talk more about what each word means as we do the examples. So in this scenario, we have 4 white marbles, 2 red marbles, 1 yellow marble, and 3 green marbles in a jar. A marble is chosen randomly, just 1 marble. We're going to use the letter W to represent white, picking a white marble, R to represent picking a red marble, Y to represent picking a yellow marble, and G to represent picking a green marble. So first, we always want to start by thinking about what our sample space is. And remember, I use these curly brackets for my sample space. So obviously I know there are 4 different colors I can get, but within each of those colors, I have a different amount of marbles. So I can't just list white, red, yellow, green as my sample space. I need to list the actual amount of different white, red, yellow, and green marbles I can pick. So for white, there are 4 white marbles. So I'm going to list W 4 times. There's 2 red marbles. And don't forget to put a comma in between each possible outcome. There's 1 yellow marble I can pick. And then there's 3 green marbles I can pick. So again, I'm listing all of my possible outcomes. And since there's different amounts of each color, I'm going to list each of the colors separately. So the first question asks to find P parentheses R. That's what the notation is, but as we know, that's telling us to find the probability of picking a red marble. So first, I need to think about how many total marbles I have to pick from, and if you count them up, you'll see that there's 10 marbles total. So my denominator is going to be 10, and then in my jar, I have 2 red marbles. So there's 2 different ways I could pick a red marble. And I can simplify this to 1 over 5. So my probability of picking a red marble is 1/5. This next one says P parentheses G, and then it has a little apostrophe. This is new. This is telling us to find the complement of the event of picking a green marble. Real quick, you might also see this written as P parentheses G with a little C above it. They mean the same thing. They both mean the complement of picking a green. So if I'm trying to find the probability of the complement of picking green, that means I want to find the probability of not picking green. I always think of complement as not. So what's the probability of not picking green? Well, I still have 10 options total, and I know that there are 3 green marbles. So the probability of not picking those 3 marbles would be 7 out of 10 because there's 7 marbles that are not green. So the probability of picking not a green marble is 7 out of 10. The next one says P parentheses R U W. This might be new too. This U symbol stands for union, which is one of our vocab words. And the union is just saying all the elements in both of these events. So one way I think of the union is the word or. I want to know the probability of picking a red or picking a white. So if I reach in and pick a marble, I'm trying to figure out the probability that what I pull out is red or that what I pull out is white. So I still have 10 options. And I'm just going to add together the possibilities of picking a red and the possibilities of picking a white. So I have 4 white marbles and 2 red marbles. So the probability that I pick red or white is 6 out of 10, 4 white marbles plus 2 red marbles. So I can also simplify this to 3 out of 5. So the probability of picking red or white, or in other words, the union of picking red or white, is 3/5. So now we're adding in another component. It says after picking a marble, you flip a fair coin. Let H equals heads and T equals tails. We have 2 different probabilities to find. Okay, Well, before I even dive into that, I want to rethink my sample space. I now have a bigger sample space because not only am I picking a marble, I'm also flipping a coin afterwards, and I'm looking at what are the probabilities of picking a certain marble and flipping a certain side of the coin. So I'm gonna make a chart to make an even bigger sample space. So I already have my sample space from before, which is 4 whites, 2 reds, 1 yellow, and 3 greens. So I'm going to list that going down just because I have more room that way. And then the 2 possibilities for the coin is flipping a heads or flipping tails. So I only have 2 possibilities going that way. I'm going to list out all of the combined possible events. So I can, starting at the very top, I can pick a white marble and flip heads, or I could pick a white marble and then flip the tails. And that same possibility happens for all 4 of my white marbles. I can pick the white marble and then a heads, or I could pick the white marble and then a tails. And there's 4 different ways that can happen because there's 4 white marbles in my jar. Same thing with the red ones. I can pick a red marble and then flip heads, or pick a red marble and flip tails. And that goes for the second red marble as well. I only have 1 yellow marble, so I can pick a yellow and then flip heads, or a yellow and then flip tails. And then for the greens, I can pick a green and then flip heads, or flip tails, and that same thing goes for all 3 green marbles. So I know this might seem like a lot of writing, but it's once we have this all written down, it's going to be so much easier to answer the question. So the first one is asking the probability of picking a white intersected, this upside down U is an intersection, with picking a tails. Okay, so again, this symbol, the upside down U, is an intersection. One way to think of that is the word and. So I'm trying to find the probability of picking a white marble and flipping tails. Another way to think about an intersection is that we're looking for we have to have both events be true. So I'm not looking for all the W's and all the T's. I'm looking for the events where I have a W and a T. Both I have to be true. I have to pick a white and I have to flip tails for this to happen. So both must be true. Both events must happen. So I'm going to go right into my chart, and I'm just going to highlight wherever I see that I get a white and a tails. So anytime I see a W and a T, that's what I'm going to be looking at. And those are the only ones. So I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to get pick a white marble and then flip a tails. But I also need to think about what are the total amount of possibilities. It's not 10 anymore because I've got the heads and the tails going on too. I actually have 20 total possibilities listed here. And then I can simplify that to 1/5. My second question is, now I know it looks very similar, but this is the right side up U, which we know means union. We said union means or. And in other words, I'm looking for at least one of these things are true. So either the white marble has to be picked or the tails gets flipped, or both. So at least one must be true. I don't have to have both true, but I have to have at least one be true in my chart. So I'm basically just going to go into my chart and look for every time I see either the W or the T. So I see W's here, and then I see W's and T's here, and then I've got T's all the way down here. So I'm looking for anytime I see a W or a T, those events are the ones I'm going to count. So all of these ones in the bottom left that don't have a W or a T are not going to be counted. So if I count these up, I have 4 plus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 14. So I have 10 plus 4, which is 14. So I have 14 different ways I can get either the white marble or the tails out of 20 total possibilities. And I can simplify that to 7/10. All right, I hope